Great.
You. Welcome to this session of the Curriculum Fair. I am joined by Nicole from Hey Kiddo Huddle, who will be sharing about their materials. So, Nicole, the floor is
Okay.
yours.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to have you all here. Happy Friday. Happy almost spring break. We are also starting spring break tomorrow. It's very exciting. So before we dive in and before I show you the curriculum, I wanted to give you a little background of how Hey Kiddo came about because it will help put context around what this curriculum is. So first of all, my background, I'm a clinical psychologist. I've been a clinical and organizational psychologist for over 20 years. And I had one of the biggest practices in Philly. And I was always curious when we did a lot of treatment of children and families. And I was always curious why we always outsourced mental health and emotional well-being to therapists and to schools without giving parents tools that they needed at home to help support their kiddos. And so it was always, I knew professionally, hey, I want to be able to build something that gives parents and caregivers, the adults in kids' lives, those tools to open up the conversation. So that was very important to me. But the reason why I actually did this was for personal reasons. My parents were school teachers in the South Bronx, and this was during the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And they were math and English teachers, but their whole thing was you can't learn if your headspace is clogged. So they would go into school at 7 in the morning and eat breakfast with the kiddos to be an ear for them and a shoulder to lean on and to talk to. And they brought that home to my brother and I. And they raised us about 20 minutes outside of Manhattan in this community where everyone's parents were doctors, lawyers, and Wall Street folks. And this was during the 80s now. And no one talked about this stuff during the 80s. I mean, some people did, but no one really. And my mom was a genius. She looked around at my friends, and my friends' parents were doctors, lawyers, and Wall Street. And she would pull together, she would host these tea parties and serve us tea and little sandwiches and cookies, and we would talk about she opened up the communication with us, and we would talk about our crushes and other things. And I didn't realize what she was doing until I had my own kiddo, but what she was doing was she was making our home a very psychologically safe home to talk about anything we wanted to talk about. And she opened it up to be able to talk about crushes and all of these things. And as we grew up and my friends grew up, my mom became that mom that everyone could talk to. And my house became that safe house that everyone could come to and talk to if they needed to. And what was so cool is I grew up in a house where I could talk about anything. Everything was on the table. And I didn't realize how rare that was until I became a psychologist. And I really got lucky because my mom knew how to do this. And my dad passed away when I was 12, my mom when I was 19. And I'm so viscerally aware of how messed up my life could have been. But it wasn't because my parents, even though they very much cared about academics, they over indexed on really developing our emotional well being, our social well being, our mental health, like making sure we felt secure and confident and all of that stuff. So I got lucky. I just don't think it should be the luck of the draw. I think every person around kids should have those tools available to them. She just, as a teacher, happened to have them, and the way she was raised happened to have them. So that's what is behind Hey Kiddo. Hey Kiddo doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles. It's not video game. It's not like, watching video. It's none of that. It's totally to get help adults open up communication with their kiddos. And I might be old school, and technology is amazing and it is advancing so fast, but our brains are not advancing as fast as technology. We still need each other when it comes to emotional well-being and social well-being. I still think the best way is through communication, is through going through it together, is through opening up together. That's what Hey Kiddo is. So I'm going to share my screen so you can all see the curriculum. Okay, you can see it? Yeah? Okay. So Hey Kiddo is super simple. You sign up for the program and you get an onboarding email from me. And that email has your own unique ID, all of that stuff. When you get on, you're going to start getting weekly emails. Those weekly emails, they're really cute. You'll see these characters in here. This portal is for the adult, even though it looks cute. It's for the adult. It's not for the kid. It's your toolbox. It could be a book, like it's your toolbox to look at and then open up the line of discussions with your kiddos, your kid or your kiddos. So, anyway, you're going to get weekly emails, and those weekly emails tell you what you're going to be focusing on that week with your kiddo. Gives a cute little recipe and like a fun fact about one of these animals. I'll show you how they get worked in. The only reason for the emails is so you don't have to think about your password. There's a click here button and it opens up that week's curriculum. That's the only reason we did it, because there's way too many passwords that we have to remember. Anyway, there's three components of Hey Kiddo Huddle. The first component is the progress tracker. You can choose to use this project tracker or not. I've created my big classroom, and what you would do is you would create a classroom, and if you have one kiddo, if you have five, if you have seven, as many kiddos as you want in that classroom, you're going to add your student, and three times throughout the course of the year, you're going to, and this is optional, by the way, you don't have to use this component of Hey Kiddo. You're going to rate your child or your children by using 8 questions. This assessment is called the DESA. The DESA is the leading social emotional assessment that's out there, but this is the mini one. So it's only 8 questions. And what it's going to give you, hold on a second. I actually didn't rate any of my kiddos, but what it's going to give you is your rating, is your rating, like how they're doing. And again, you're doing it over the course of 3 times over the course of the year. If your kiddo is showing up in the red, that is correlated with struggling. Your kiddo just might be struggling. It's not a red flag. Oh my God, they have a mental health diagnosis. It just means, okay, I need to dig in a little deeper. I might need to talk to the teacher. I might need to talk, get support in some way. If they fall in the blue, that is just typical around social emotional functioning. And then if it's a green, it's a strength. And again, even if it's a strength, we are evolving till the day we die. So we're always building these skills throughout life. And what we found with our research is that if you do this as prescribed, kids that fall in the red often move to the blue over the course of the year. Kids that from starting the blue move to the green over the course of the year. It's not a definite, but again, when you think about it, when you're opening up the lines of communication and doing this on a regular daily basis or weekly basis, of course your kiddo is going to get more comfortable with their social skills. They're going to get more comfortable with their emotional skills. The second part is the curriculum. The curriculum is super, super easy. There's 2 curriculums. There's one for K-3 and there's one for 4-6. Let's say you have 4 kiddos at home and 2 are in the K-3 and 2 are in the 4-6. I recommend doing this together as a family. You don't want to do different curriculums. It's gonna drive you crazy. Do it as a family. And you always want to pick the higher curriculum. You'll want to pick the 4-6 curriculum. And the reason why is you know your kiddos best. So there might be some vocabulary here that your first grader might struggle with, but your older kiddos can help coach them. Or some concepts. Again, you or your older kiddos can help coach them on the concepts. What's amazing to do it as a family is as a family unit, if there's other siblings, even if you have kids that are in high school, it's so cool because your kids of different ages start helping each other. They start coaching each other. This gives an opportunity for leadership skills and for stepping in and coaching one another. So it's really wonderful if you have more than one kiddo that you're going to do this with. So the curriculum is super simple. I'm showing the grades 4-6. You have all your instructions here, your instructions to get started, how we monitor SEL progress, tips to how to adapt the curriculum. So in every week, we're going to have tips and tools for how to up-level or adjust based on your child's needs. So some of you have children that might learn differently. So this is going to have tips on how to adjust the curriculum to best suit your family. tips on how to get the most out of the conversations. And then also, because I know a lot of homeschooling parents are amazing with planning, we only release 1 week at a time, which can be very frustrating to people. And I completely get it. It's frustrating to me too. But the way this curriculum was designed is every week builds on the next week, every day builds on the next day. It's developmentally structured. So we don't want you skipping ahead. But you can plan. Here's your plan. Here's the curriculum outline for all the weeks. All right. So getting into the curriculum, there's five main, I don't know why I said 10. There's five main modules. The first is self-awareness. The second is self-management. The third is responsible decision making. The fourth is social awareness. And the fifth is about relationship skills. So as you can see, like you need self-awareness before self-management before you're moving on to decision making. So that's what I mean. It's developmentally scaffold. And you'll see the little animals. So those, for the first 8 weeks, the chimpanzee is following you through. So the emails you're going to get have recipes with bananas and fun facts about chimpanzees. So that's just the animals. They're just cute and fun to look at. So every week, I'm going to open up this one. Every week has different components of the curriculum. I'm sorry, this is like, there we go. Okay. So week 14 is, what does my stress look like? And it has a little introduction. Again, this is for you, just what you're going to be focusing on. Any special adaptations that are suggested based on our experience delivering this material. Every week comes with a therapeutic creative arts activity. So this was designed by a team of psychologists, art therapists, child experts. So there's a lot of getting kids to talk about this stuff. So much happens with using creative arts stuff. So you have amazing activities here that they're optional. I highly recommend you do them. So this one is one of my favorites. It's called the Stress Monster. So everyone that's doing this, including the adult should do this too. When we have stress as adults, it's very big. It's like ambiguous, and it's like it just smushes around in our brain. But once we get it out of our heads and start writing it down or talking about the things we have to do, it becomes more manageable. So stress can be really big and ambiguous for kids. So what we're doing with this activity is we're saying, let's draw our stress monsters. What does it smell like? What does it look like? What does it sound like? What's its name? Like, what's its colors? All of that stuff. So all of the kiddos drawing and the adult drawing their stress monster. And then through this activity, you teach the kiddo and the adult, because this is useful. We did this in my family, like my husband and I and my kiddo, like we all did this. And you invite your stress monster for a cup of tea and have a conversation with it. So we suggest putting your stress monsters on a wall or on the refrigerator. And so when you notice your kiddo getting stressed, you bring the stress monster out for a conversation. It becomes something tangible versus ambiguous. Again, just like we as adults write to-do lists, so our big stress can be tangible. It's the same for a kid. They're not writing to-do lists, but they can hold and touch their stress monster and have a conversation with it. So it's a really powerful activity. I know it sounds a little weird, but it's again, those are the kind of therapeutic creative arts activities. They're tried, they're true, they work, they're amazing. So there are creative activities every week. And then there are the conversation starters. So how we do these are, again, every day built on the next day. You can either do this 15 minutes a day or for about an hour every week, whatever fits into your schedule. You're going to ask the question, what does stress mean to you? And have the open conversation. We have here how kiddos often respond and how you as the educator, as the parent, can respond. And again, then the questions build. The first question for week 1 is, again, they're developmentally scaffold, so they're going to build over time. We highly recommend that you share what stress means to you, that you share how do you know when you're feeling stressed, because kids model us, kids learn from us. And when we're participating in this together, such powerful, amazing things can happen. And that's why I'm saying, if you have kids of different ages in your home, do it together, because siblings can learn from one another. They can learn from you, all of this. It becomes a really amazing thing for a family to do together. You could do this over breakfast, you could do it over dinner. These are powerful conversations to have. So, anyway, the curriculum. There's you start from square one, week one, and you go for as long as you want. It's the curriculum has 32 weeks, and you don't have to get through all of them, but you have to start from the beginning. The last part are our general resources. So let's see your family pet is sick and passing away, and you know that it's imminent. You can look up grief or how to talk about pet loss or something, whatever you're seeing in your home. And there are going to be resources written by licensed psychologists and therapists here. You can also request any topics that you don't see, but there's tons and tons of resources here because different things happen in your family unit and you might need some support and help. So those are the three components of Hey Kiddo. It's simple, not a lot of bells and whistles. It's just a guide, a developmentally appropriate guide and scaffold guide to start building these vital skills in your children. And we all know things are changing. So one of the things that does come out of this is building psychological flexibility, mental agility, like all the things we need as adults and as children as we're growing up. So on that note, let me stop sharing. I spoke a lot. Any questions?
Wonderful. Thank you. I'll go ahead and close us out of the recording so that we can move into
Mm-hmm.
Q&A.
Okay.